Spoiler alert for episode 7 of Traitors Canada Season 3 and for episode 11 of Survivor 49.
Thank you for watching.
And listening. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 8 of Reality Rangers. I'm Malik Fortier.
And I'm Andrew Hill.
And we have been separated.
Oh my god. My mic wasn't working, and so there's like a glass between us.
This is like some sort of like sick, twisted saw trap. Like I can see my co-host, but like there's something separating us. We're gonna hope the chemistry is the same.
The wall's gonna start closing in on one of us, and we have a button to press to turn it the other way.
Don't worry, I have the screwdriver. Okay, so it's a good week. It's a good week for reality TV here, especially in Canada with episode 7 of Traitors Canada.
Yes.
So we're just gonna hop right in. We're
Might as well.
We're gonna come off of who was murdered?
Shaughnessy. I mean, you know, it's a little sad, but also I care? Not really.
No shade to Shaughnessy and her beautifully long name. I think
they got my name wrong.
I think, you know, it wasn't the best move in my opinion, but it was an okay move regardless. I don't think it's going to cost them the game.
Yeah, I don't think there was a bad move that they really could have done if they were going to kill someone other than, like, if they killed, like, Dom, that would have been bad. But
yeah, or if they tried Jericho, that would have been the only...
Of their options, I think, overall, they didn't really have a bad scenario, but it was just okay.
Yeah, so we see at the breakfast some people talking. Oh, Shaughnessy, rest in peace. Venus I think part of it was Venus was scared of the relationship that she and Hollywood had.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I guess. We don't want to give Hollywood more numbers.
I agree. The one through line through this entire breakfast, though, is everyone, but specifically Meredith, was on Jericho's neck the whole fucking time.
It was crazy.
Was on the gas the whole time, never pumped the brakes. It was kind of diabolical.
This whole thing started when the first 3 to breakfast were Dom, Jericho, and Meredith. Jer and Mare and Dom.
Yeah.
And so Jericho, being one of the people who was in the group that could have gotten a shield, was asked by Meredith, "Hey, Jericho, did you have a shield?" And Dom was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm curious too." And Jericho says, "I don't know if I'm going to answer it. I'll tell you in private." And he looks directly to Dom. And Meredith is like, "Who am I, chopped liver?" And he's like, "No, I'll tell people publicly." And she's like, well, "Is it in public or private? Like, make your mind up."
Yeah. Jericho, this entire episode was like, just not the same person. It was very bizarre because, like, he was so nothing burger, and now he's like, wait. And it was like he couldn't stop fumbling every conversation he had. And I still think Meredith was a little bit, like, too against him from the start. But Jericho should have, like, accounted for that when he was talking. Like, you have to account for all of these, like, emotional moments or whatever, and he just kind of said shit and then had to recover immediately after.
Like, he should know by now that Meredith is a feisty player, and if you try to, like... I know he was saying that he thought that Meredith was sus, but, like, don't let her think that. Don't let her know that you're against her.
Right.
Because now she's on an anti-Jericho campaign. And, you know, we'll see later in the episode how that panned out. Okay, yeah, so once everybody comes to breakfast, Jericho eventually tells everyone that he has a shield, and Meredith kind of...
Sorry, it wasn't even when everyone was there. There was, like, half of the people there by the time that he said it, which made Meredith even more upset because Jericho didn't even wait for everyone to be there like he said he would, which just makes it more, like, obvious that he just didn't want to talk to Meredith.
Yeah, it was, like, the inconsistency that, like, was not really smart on his end. Speaking of Meredith, Shala comes in, and Meredith wants to say, "Oh, babe, there's the maple syrup or something. I don't know. There's the pure and simple pancakes." And
hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag no ads. And
hashtag Vlogmas.
Hashtag Vlogmas. But Meredith just catches herself from saying babe. So we're seeing that, like, there's a kind of wear on her. Like she's slowly becoming, she's losing it a little bit, and I think everyone's losing it a little bit once they reach like day 10 or whatever in the house.
They're slowly getting like worse and worse. Like they're deteriorating over time, and I think it's especially evident with Meredith, who is like she's becoming more aggressive as a faithful as well. Like she's really going in because she's just kind of like giving up, not giving up, but like, you know, letting the cover slip.
Yeah. Dom thinks that there is 2 traitors left. He is right. And him and maybe a couple of other people are the only people really like talking about this. Like it really seems like they're going down the wrong path, especially with the whole like Rhea was an OG thing.
Yeah.
You know, as much as Kara from last episode was saying, oh yeah, she got off the boat because she was a traitor, like there's no proof that she's an OG. And I think that might lead them asunder. Is that the right word?
Astray.
Yeah, it might not be best for the faithful game.
Yeah, Jamal, I think, had a good moment this episode where he specifically says he believes that Rhea was set up as a recruitment just to get her out. And he was fully correct, but that leads him down the wrong path later in the episode, and he just keeps getting more and more wrong.
Yeah, Hollywood, even though he thinks there's only one traitor left, he does say something somewhat insightful. He says, okay, so we had an emotional traitor and an erratic traitor. We're looking for a mastermind.
Yes.
He's wrong that there's only one, but he's right that there's masterminds left in the conclave.
Yeah, it's good to divert your attention over to the people that you wouldn't suspect because they're a lot more calm and collected, because they've been putting their targets on all of these like big boisterous players. Like Coco is a big player that everyone's targeting, and even though Coco is a traitor, we already had 2 very out there emotional players that like it would be weird if they made it all 3 and had like no outwardly like just nothing players, you know?
Yeah.
They need some cover.
Right. And so Lisette and Shala continue their toxic relationship, their toxic Yuri. I'm kidding. We're going to have to cut that out.
No, that's funny. You have to keep it in.
And you know, it's honestly it's like a hate triangle at this point with Lisette and Shala and Meredith. Like,
yeah.
Lisette is a 2-timer. I don't know.
I think because Meredith and Shala are like, you know, they were married at the time of the recording, in my brain, I kind of kept confusing which one Lisette was mad at. And then I looked at the votes afterwards, and she's voted Shala like 3 times and Meredith twice. And so it's like,
which one is she mad at? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was one of them, and I realize now she just keeps switching, and she's just always mad at one of them.
And honestly, you know, kudos to her for being consistent in a way.
It's kind of iconic.
It's kind of iconic. I'm back on the Lisette train. Like, I was a little fed up with Lisette, but like, this episode...
We were saying it gets to a point, but then it gets to an even further point where it's like, okay, it's funny.
It's like a bell jar or something like that. So after the breakfast, Jericho is playing Rhea damage control. He's kind of like been guilty by association, and he's trying to like put out the little fires. Like he goes to Coco and says, Coco, I'm not mad at you anymore. I'm not going for you anymore. Which he was the one person who was right about Coco. Like maybe keep going on there. But he's like, okay, I've been wrong once. I don't want to be wrong again. And so he kind of tries to go fade back into the wallpaper. But is that possible? We don't know.
Yeah. Coco has honestly like a pretty good moment where like, yeah, she's kind of like marked for death, but people really have diverted their attention elsewhere because they think she's so obvious that they could get her out at any time, which means if they leave her for long enough, she can take advantage of that to fully just make them forget about her.
And while Venus is happy that she's got a competent partner to, you know, be treacherous with, she is still pushing Coco's name in a small capacity, and she's keeping the Coco flame alive. And that is, I think, smart. You always want to have your fellow traitor be more out there than you, like have their name more circulated than yours. So I'd say that's good for Venus. But I just wonder if there's a way to the end for both of them. I'd love if they could both get to the end.
I think if both of them can somehow manage their way to the end together. Has there ever been 2 traitors that won together?
From the mainline seasons that I've seen, and I've seen only really the English-speaking ones, no.
Okay.
There's been 3 traitors who made it to the end, but they didn't technically win.
Right.
That was Australia 2.
So they had them all in the end, but then they still voted out.
No,
them,
okay. It was the one where they did the Traitors
Oh,
Dilemma,
right. Yes.
and all of them stole the money and got
Okay.
$0. So technically, the Traitors did all make it to the end.
Yeah.
And there's been a finale where there was 2 traitors and 1 faithful, and the faithful had to basically give the other person $1 million or whatever the prize was, like because he chose between the 2 traitors. But no, there's never been like 2 or even 3 traitors who like got to the end and won the money and like happily ever after.
I think if the 2 of them can do it together, they'd set such an incredible precedent because, like, even though they always are playing for themselves, they're still, at the end of the day, playing, like, helping each other out in a way that's, like, really healthy. And, like, they always seem like they're just very competent in both playing for themselves and playing for the other person. So, it would be so cool. I don't think they have a very clear path at all, but I think if one of them goes, the other one has a really good shot to win.
Yeah, especially I think if Coco goes, I think Venus could win more so than vice versa, just because Venus doesn't have that like mark on her ledger of the traitor on traitor.
Right.
And I don't think, if Coco's going out the door, like, I don't think she should start a fight and, like, lead the campaign against Coco. I think she should just let it happen. And I don't think Coco would screw her game up on the way out like Kevin or Rhea did to her.
And I don't think Venus would actively target her, more so just, like, spreading the seed of distrust, which I think is really good in the way that she does it because she's always doing it so that it never gets back to Coco.
Yeah, it's that subtlety that's key. So Jamal is still pushing Kara. Kara is saying, like, oh, I'm embarrassed for him because he's so off the money. And Jamal is even saying that he's ready to toss the towel in because people are not receptive to the way he's communicating.
Yeah. This whole episode was, like, not great for Jamal. It just kind of felt like, you know, he's kind of becoming the Charlie Brown of the season. Like, regardless of whether he's correct or not, no one's really listening to him. No one's really, like, taking his input.
It seems like he's lost what social capital he had.
Right.
And it just kind of seems like he's not having a great time. Natalie, in her confessional, her one confessional of the episode, her daily confessional, or her weekly confessional, says, am I Kara blind? Could it be Kara? No. And that's all for Natalie this week. So for the mission, we had a scavenger hunt based on some questions that the traitors were asked earlier in Turret. And it's the second time this season where we had the traitors kind of orchestrating and planning out the game before it happened. That we saw that with like the chess game, the traitors deciding who was on the more faithful side and who was on the more sus side of the chessboard. But it was a little different.
Yeah, this one was a lot more like cut and dry. It's very bare bones of like these questions are either going to reveal a lot for the faithfuls, or it's going to create so much distrust that either way, we're going to see some big blowback from like creating a new element to the game, either for the traitors' favor or against the traitors.
Yeah, so basically the question is asked, for example, who is the least useful player in the game? And then everybody would have to go search for some gold and stake their answer on the podium with the name of the person they think is the correct answer.
Yeah, they're basically betting on who they think the traitors would have said. And it doesn't have to be specifically like, if you think person is a traitor, what do you think they would say? More so, what do you think the traitors would say to, you know, create the best scenario for them, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, people are chained up.
Yeah.
They're doing like a 3-legged race to find these things. There's
were their legs handcuffed? Like,
was it legs or arms?
I think it was just their arms were handcuffed. So I don't know why Venus and Sarah Nicole were doing the whole like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
I think their legs were handcuffed.
Were they?
Because I remember people being like, "Go with the rhythm, with the rhythm."
Yeah. I just never saw the handcuffs.
Actually, no, because then how would Lizette have carried Kara?
That's true. So
That
yeah,
seems like
I think they were
safety
just doing that
hazard.
for no reason.
Yeah, people just wanted to have fun, I guess. Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah. Either way, the challenge was relatively straightforward right at the end when they said, who is most likely to be a traitor, because the traitors are going to answer. That's, this is the most important question to decide whether or not the traitors are going to reveal themselves. And we have a big moment where Lisette kind of resparks this, it was put to bed and the feud with Meredith is back on. She says that Meredith was a traitor, but it's like a last second moves her name onto Meredith, which both of them just are pissed at each other because of.
The funniest part about this is not the reigniting, which it was never put out. It's not the reigniting of the Lisette and Meredith beef. It was Kara was chained to Lisette and said, okay, let's split our money between names because maybe I don't think Meredith is a traitor.
Yeah.
And Kara puts her money on Lisette right in front of her face.
It's so funny.
And I don't know if this was an accident, if she couldn't see which name she was putting it on. And Lisette was like, girl, what? Like, what do you mean meat? And then, like, she gets her to move it to Meredith.
Yeah.
And so they put all their money on Meredith. Obviously, it's not the right answer.
Yeah. I think it's also funny that, like, when she says, I'm going to put it on Meredith, Kara's like, what do you mean Meredith? Like, no one else is on this Meredith train, and Lisette is just so in her own head about it that she assumes everyone else is in their head about this.
Yeah, and so the correct answer for this question was Coco, and you'd be thinking, like, that's crazy. Why would they put themselves out like this? Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Coco kind of was, like, exonerated by this. People were like, yeah, Coco, we trust you now. Like, we know you would never, like, put yourself out there. That's obviously you being set up. So this is, like, only going more in Coco's favor. And it seems like with every episode since maybe, like, the Omer table, like, she's only getting more and more cleared, which it's, like, that's usually the opposite of what happens.
Yeah, I think Coco, this was her best episode, I feel like. She really did a lot of good, that even if she did a few things that kind of slipped up a little bit, she really made so much improvement on her social capital that, like, it didn't even matter.
Yeah, another big thing that comes from the mission is the shields. 3 groups got shields. That was Venus and Sarah Nicole, Shala and Coco, and Dom and Hollywood. The people holding onto the shields were Venus, Hollywood, and Shala. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
You did it.
I did it after 3 tries. And
you'll see none of those takes.
And you'll see none of the other takes. And so Sarah Nicole and Venus won't share who has it. Coco and Shala won't share who has it. But Dom concocts this big brain move that Hollywood approves of. Dom, in front of everyone, takes the shield out of his pocket that Hollywood gave him and said, hey guys, I have the shield. And everyone's like, oh, that's not. And they're like, Dom, why'd you do that? Now Hollywood is up for murder. And
in the sense that.
And that's exactly what Dom wanted, because he just gave the shield right back to Hollywood.
Yeah, I feel like if anyone else tried to pull off this plan, it wouldn't work. Just because, like, people have this perception of Dom as being, like, a stupid meathead. And he, like, I can say that because he fully plays into it. He wants people to think that. So when he concocts this plan, they're like, oh, this is just Dom being his stupid self.
He's aware of the perception of himself, and it's perfect, because you may think I'm just perfect match Dom, but no, let me bring out the mole Dom.
Exactly.
Which
and that mole Dom got, like, 11th place, but even still.
I don't think he did well on the mole, but still, he does have that social strategical side. And it seems to work, because everyone's like, okay, well, now Hollywood's...
They really eat it up.
They ate it up. They thought Hollywood was out for dead. But no, another week of safety for Hollywood Jade. What is it now, like 4 weeks in a row where he's got some kind of protection?
He's been, like, kind of killing it on the, like, making it to the next round.
He's untouchable both, like, at night and at the round table.
Yeah.
So, like, that's my winner pick, low-key. Like, out
honestly,
of the Faithfuls...
Even if the Traitors win, I feel like we could see a Hollywood making it to the end with a traitor, like maybe like a Venus situation.
Pre-round table. So Natalie talks to Meredith, who hard accuses Jericho, especially based off of that stuff at breakfast. But now Natalie is a little unsure and maybe is sus of Meredith. Lisette talks to Meredith, which, you know, it never ends up perfectly, but they kind of do the same thing that Thompson and Rhea were doing earlier in the season,
Yeah.
saying like, okay, our beef is keeping us here, so let's keep that going, which like I don't think they love it, but like they'll put up with it.
I think they don't love it because they don't enjoy talking to each other. They just don't mesh well. But I think from a gameplay perspective, they also see that like this is good for them.
It's mutually beneficial. Okay, yeah, so Jamal is still on a rampage about Kara, and he's acting all righteous, and Hollywood in the confessional is like, you can't take everything so personally, it's a game.
Yeah.
And lastly, Meredith talks to Shala and says, okay, let's just make it to the Fire of Truth, and then we go alphabetically, which, what does that mean?
I have no clue.
I guess it's like
don't know
if
what
they
they're
have
talking about.
if they have two people left with them, you go for Dom before Venus kind of thing. I have
don't
no
know.
idea what they're talking here. It just looks like they want to go to the end together, which I'm like, was
Yeah.
that not always your plan?
Exactly.
Like, I'd hope so. Okay, at the round table, Jericho sees that he has some work to do to defend himself, and he basically says something along the lines of, I never said that I was a perfect faithful. I just said that I was a faithful. And I think that's a good argument. Like saying, "Oh, I would take the shield," and I would I think it's good to not put yourself up on a pedestal. But I don't think the people were that receptive of that.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing to say, but also he really waited until the last second to really start saying things that could help him, and so it doesn't help his case when people have likely already made up their mind.
Yeah. And then Meredith was pulling the, oh, why'd you defend Rhea card, which was definitely not a good look, but he couldn't help it, right? Because he was friends with Rhea from before she was recruited, so it was just really unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
But every time that Jericho tries to defend and maybe put it back on Meredith, Lizette is jumping and adding insult to injury, and it's hilarious. The vote, pretty straightforward. Jericho goes home in a near unanimous vote. Once again, we're having a lot of near unanimous votes now. We've reached the point where people are kind of going in that hive mentality. There's a few dissenting votes. Jericho himself votes for Meredith, and so does Lizette, because of course.
Of course.
And Jamal votes Kara because of course. And post-table, Coco is saying that she's going to ride the bandwagon to the top. She's not making any waves, which is good for her game.
I did love that quote of, I love the bandwagon. You gotta ride the wagon to the top.
Exactly.
She's an icon.
Venus and Hollywood, they kind of feel bad for Jericho, but they kind of say that, there wasn't any good, compelling arguments made to not vote for Jericho and to vote for someone else. And Hollywood says that he's losing all his day ones. And I mean, once you lose your people that you really trusted since the beginning, it's hard to make some moves in the game.
So now, you think you're about to get to the end of the episode, and then they kind of hit you with a big moment that shakes up the rest of the episode. We're revealed that the traitors tonight don't get a normal murder. They have to murder in plain sight in what is essentially an insane, Where's Waldo, keeping track of the shields that everyone has,
but also white elephant gift exchange.
It's very bizarre. We know that Hollywood, Venus, and Shala have the original shields, but then they are told about this cursed shield that they have to find behind a skull painting, and the traitors have to give this shield to another player who will then be murdered when the night is over.
Venus is running across this manor like it's an episode of Scooby-Doo and someone's chasing her and they're going through doors and teleporting. She can't find it. She can't find the skull painting. Coco, within a couple of rounds, finds it.
Yeah, she already had found it by the time Venus was looking around, and she actually she accidentally broke the painting, and so it was somewhere else. You could tell Venus couldn't find it because Coco had to hide the painting that she broke.
So basically, they've got the shield and they're like, okay, how can we pawn this off in a way that, looks natural, right? That's going to be crazy. Everyone knows there's only 3 shields and we have one of them. But here's the second part, the second prong of the twist, that we see a letter in the foyer and the faithfuls read. Notably, Venus is not there because she's still looking for the shield.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone finds out that the people who have shields cannot hold on to them. They have to give them away by the end of the night. They can end up with a shield, but it has to be somebody else's shield. And so it's basically this whole frenzy of shields going left and right, buy one, get one free, Black Friday. And
just in time for Cyber Monday.
Exactly. Dom and Hollywood are like perfect. We'll just like switch the shield around and it's just like our plan intended to be. And then Coco, Shala, and Sarah Nicole and Venus have to like get in a little quartet and say like, okay, do we want to protect all four of us together? And Venus is like, well, how are we going to get the cursed shield into here? Like, she's trying to, like, figure out how to murder one of them, and it's just not looking good for her because she's trying to play dumb, and she's stalling.
She's doing too much because she doesn't have enough time to figure out what to do. So it's kind of like combining those two moments at the same time where, like, people are like, why is she confused? What's going on? Like, can't Venus just give us the shield and that's fine?
Yeah, and like Coco and Venus try to like grab a few seconds to strategize, but then like Shala walks up on them and they're like, hey, what's up? And so Shala relays this back to Meredith, and the two of them, that couple is sus of Venus and a little bit of Coco now. So it was kind of not good play on the Traitors here. And by the end of the episode, we don't know who ended up with the curse shield or if the curse shield was even given out at all.
And the only thing we truly know about the regular shields is that Hollywood gave the shield to Dom, which, if there was a regular murder, would really play into their whole like situation.
Their little gambit.
I don't think we know if there's going to be a murder on top of the murder in plain sight.
I think that is the murder for the night.
Yeah, so then the shields are kind of useless in that case, and Dom's plan is kind of like made obsolete.
They work as a decoy.
It was really good in theory.
It was good in theory. So yeah, that's where we leave off. It was a hectic episode. I don't know if Venus is going to survive the banishment tomorrow. I hope she does, but it's not looking good for her.
It's a little worrying. I mean, I think she has the upside of the fact that like people really haven't been sus on her for a while. So like it coming out of nowhere could be in her favor, but at the same time we also see like the same thing happened to Jericho, and Jericho went home this episode.
Yeah. Now if we move on quickly to Survivor, I think this time I play it by ear. We're going to be limited to 5 words each. Okay.
We're getting shorter and shorter every time.
Shorter and shorter. 5 words to describe Survivor 49 episode 11. Go.
I'm really confused about. This is all one word. Everyone except Savannah and Rizzo.
Okay.
That's one word. It's in the dictionary.
I'm going to use maybe like 5 adjectives or like whatever. I'm going to say parkour. I'm going to say chicken jockey. Count that as 1.
Yeah, okay. That's 2.
I'm going to say R.I.P. Sophie is 1.
Right.
And then I'm going to say Christina Savannah beef was iconic. That's another word.
Right, that is 1 word.
And then I'm going to say...
It was the word of the year, I think.
It was the word of the year in Merriam-Webster. And then I'm going to say jury diversity.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
And that's about 5 words.
That's about 5 words. It was a great episode if your name starts with an R or... Yeah.
But I mean, like, you can't even say if your name starts with an S because all of their names start with an S.
Over half of them start with an S. It is
Savannah, Sophie, Sage, and Steven. That's 5 out of 8.
It's a good...
5 out of 7.
Actually, it's a good episode if your name started with an S, low-key, unless you're Sophie, but then also the Sophie that has an E at the end.
Yeah. But, like, honestly, Sophie with an I feel like
didn't have the best episode either.
Like, I feel like she had a fine episode. I mean, I think it was much, much worse for, like, Sage, Steven, Christina to make that play. Whereas I think Sophie with an I, she at least has room to, like, flip if she wants to. She has the knowledge of power. She could steal Rizzo's idol because, like, there's a whole thing with Steven.
That would be a gag.
I think she'll probably try and steal Steven's advantage, which she can't do because next episode he has to play it and it has to be played before Tribal.
I'm scared she's going to make a fool of herself.
I think she will. But if she stole Rizzo's idol, which she won't. But, like, if she did, that would be an incredible play.
Hindsight is 2020, and that has been it for Reality Rangers because we have to return this key or else I'm going to get fined again.
Yeah.
So, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening. Bye.